People, Deluded, I'm back again. Whether you're on YouTube, smash the like button, Twitter or Twitch, appreciative to have you lot tuned in. I hope Monday's been great for you. Where is my manners? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. Now, Arsenal fans, Saturday, was our first taste of defeat this season, our second defeat of 2024. While I feel that, naturally, the way Arsenal have been built up, the way we've been talked about, the way we've been spoiled, we're always a game or a defeat away from a crisis. That being said, we can't just waffle about the fact that we lost and we've got 2 defeats and there might be a pylon or over exaggeration. A performance like that has been coming. We have got away with it. For me, it's a bit of pill to swallow because you're seeing City and Liverpool evidently win, of course, and on that, and also prior to the Bournemouth game, we got through Spurs, got through Villa. Okay, we didn't beat City, but it was courageous. We didn't lose to Atalanta. We beat PSG. There was a feel-good factor. It doesn't feel like we've thrown it away, but I think we've thrown it away against Bournemouth. We're chasing a lot of lost points. You've got to be courageous in defeat. First things first, credit to Bournemouth. They did everything we didn't. They pressed well. They scored the goals. They done us on a set piece. They did bare things that we didn't do. So we just have to move. And I mean, the 2 defeats have come against fellow Spanish managers from the same region of Spain as Arteta. Maybe there's some mind games. All we can do is get back on the horse and keep it moving. It's a tough week. Hopefully we batter Shakhtar. There's a bit of feel-good factor. Obviously, we've got Liverpool at the weekend. It gets very dark, really, if we don't go and win that game. Again, we lost to Bournemouth. Nothing went right. We didn't score. There was no creativity. The tactics and the performance from the players and the manager wasn't there. Obviously, we don't know the fitness and the status currently of the Odegaards and the Sakas, etc., etc. It's a bit of pill to swallow, people. We're going to get into everything in a second, people. Big up you lot. Make sure you're smashing the like button and whatnot, man. Make sure you like the video, my people. DJ a real one, but we're here for tears. Never hide in front line. And it happens, man. It happens, man. Play 50 Cent, many men. Like, we get one little defeat. And big up, George. Make sure you're following him. George, Saeed, LB, Roms, Don. We again go and check out Saeed's YouTube channel. We did a panel where these lot were hitting me from pause, from all angles, man. So it is what it is. Why did our players decide to pass the split on the left-hand side for the match? I don't know, man. I think, ultimately, if I just say, as I always say, if I say random managers to you, like if I just say some random names, Arsene Wenger, Conte, Postecoglou, Jose Mourinho, Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, Arne Slot, Jurgen Klopp, if I haven't said that, all different managers, all different ways of playing. Fundamentally, football's a simple game. You need to keep balls at the back of your net, need to put balls in the opponents. Clearly didn't defend well. Obviously, the talking point is another game where there's potentially indiscipline. We've got a red card. But even when we had 11 men, there was issues. And I don't think Mikel Arteta had solutions. We could sit here and say, play the young Ethan, and that could have maybe done a thing. But, we know if there's no Odegaard or Saka, we're in problems. I don't know what the midfield was about. I'm not going to sit and be a hypocrite. I did like it, really. But it felt like Mikel Moreno was left. We're going to get into all of this. Mikel Moreno was left to his own devices. Partey's in his own world. Declan Rice is in his own world. None of them are great at build-up play. So that already isolates Trossard and Raheem Sterling at a point. They're already dropping. We're playing into Bournemouth's hands. We're already compact. They're compact. You could see their fullbacks were gambling as well. We played right into their hands. Now, David Raya was extremely shaky in terms of his passing, but there has to be a correlation with the lack of passing lanes. So I don't think Mikel Arteta set us up in the right way. I think he played Moreno in kind of the Odegaard hybrid role in that he's dropping deep. He's trying to join the press with Kai Havertz. None of it worked. None of it worked. It was a poor day at the office. And for a team that's typically better away from home, there's no positives. Like, it don't mean I have to scream and shout and everyone's crap and get everybody out. But it feels like, 1, we were poor. 2, Mikel Arteta had no solutions. 3, the backdrop of what we did or didn't do in the market. We don't have Odegaard cover. We don't have adequate cover or someone that could deputize or compete for Saka's spot. There's been some injuries. Now there's suspensions. These all play a part, but these are not things that are just necessarily unique to Arsenal Football Club, people. Now, this ain't the best of presentations for myself, admittedly, but I thought I might as well try and articulate my thoughts for you guys. The main talking points for me: where did it go wrong? Where did it go right? What it means going forward. All we can do is go on. At the end of the day, we can cry about the past. The future brings uncertainty. There's no time like the present. These lot need to get back on the horse, beat Shakhtar in the Champions League, get some points on the board in this new Champions League format, and put their best foot forward against Liverpool, really, because Liverpool are probably smelling blood. Where do we go from here? I've kind of alluded to that. The depth is being severely tested. Of course, there's a lot of injuries. And we lost our discipline. Discipline with what Saliba is doing. For me, discipline also extends to doing the basics right, doing the fundamentals right, doing what we've done in the last year or so. We didn't do that. We didn't defend with the way we did. I'll get into it, but, I think Trossard's stray pass, Saliba's nonsense, Kivio's back pass, Raya's decision-making on the ball, everybody. I'm not blaming any player, but it just sums up everything was poor at the office. Bringing on Ethan for some little man minutes where there's really nothing to get from the game, you know, and football's a game of moments. You know, it's another one where Martinelli finds himself in a position, doesn't do the business. They go and score 90 seconds away from that, and then they score 2 goals, and it's not sustainable. The Premier, yeah, there's been times we've got draws and done a little thing with 10 men. It's not sustainable. It's hard enough with 11 players. We was rubbish with 11 players. It's a task too far. And I think on reflection of the game, genuinely, we threw it away in 9 minutes. You know, 70th minute, it was 0-0. End of the game, as you can see there, it's 2-0. Now, again, people, the overview, it's our 3rd red card, 8 games or so into the season. For me, I think so far that was our most flat and lackluster performance in the Premier League. We threw it away in 90 minutes, as I said. We lack creativity. We didn't defend both boxes well. There was no guile in midfield, in which Moreno, Partey and Declan Rice, you're not paid to do that. None of you are Santi Cazorla. None of you are Cesc Fabregas. None of you could do that. You know, and naturally, there's going to be the blame game now. Is our first defeat of the season. It is our 2nd defeat in 2024. And it was a stalemate. Let's be honest, the game was nothing to really scream and shout about. Both teams kind of cancelled each other out. We were poor. There was nothing really with Bournemouth. We ruined it, and the narrative changed 90 minutes into it, people. So that's where you're at with that. Saliba, does he need to do that? I think it's one where you do it and then think. Now, I've got a video coming out at 7 p.m. with Lee Judges picking him up. And he said, yeah, if we had let's just assume Liverpool's a Champions League final on Sunday, would Saliba have done that? I personally think this sums up the game. I said it during my watch along. They were marking the hell out of Trossard. I don't know why, and it kind of paid off. Trossard's played a nonchalant pass. He's dropped his teammate in it. It's easy for me to say. I think Saliba did what he had to do, and he has to hold his hands up. But at the same time, does he have to do that? Because Ivan Nilsson is probably through on goal, but he's got a lot to do, you know. This is assuming Saliba, Benjamin White, and whoever's on that left-hand side, as you lot can see, stays put. This is assuming he gets past David Raya. Could David Raya have bailed him out? Evidently, we don't know, people. I don't think this was, you know, I don't think the two situations are the same, people. But naturally, some Arsenal fans are going to do, oh, what about the Tosin one? I think the yellow card, I could see how you could say it's a red. And I do think it's the luck of the draw, you know, on another day that happens, it is a red. I think it's very different. I think it starts in Liverpool's half. So I don't quite think it's the same. I'm not blaming the midfield, but I think the engine room, you know, games are won and lost in the defense and in attack. The engine room, it had nothing really and truly. And when you look at it, the build-up is lacking. None of these guys are specialists in terms of build-up play. Partey out of the 3 is probably that. Declan Rice, Partey, Moreno, I don't really feel did enough. And I don't think the tools were utilized in the right way, if I'm completely honest with you. You know, even again, you go and watch that game again. You look at the passing lanes, people. Now, of course, the way Bournemouth are pressing us, the way Arteta set up, I think it was too compact, people, versus a compact side. I think Partey offered a lot more than Rice, but I don't think there was enough passing range. And I think Moreno was given too much to do. 1 minute he's doing the 10 thing, he's linking up with Havertz, he's actually running in behind pass at Havertz. Then you've got him dropping deep. It was square pegs in round holes. If you've got no midfield, especially away from home, to alleviate pressure, to set the tempo, you're going to be in problems, as you lot already know, people. And again, people, you could see it. Havertz is dropping deep, and then 1 minute Havertz is pulling to the right-hand side. I felt quite sorry for Raheem Sterling, none the least because we went down to 10 men and he got sub, but there's nothing to work with, really. I do think we miss Saka and Martinelli, but I know the God, but at the end of the day, they're not there. We have to do better, if I'm honest with you, people. And again, Raya needs to hold his hands up, but there's no passing lanes. Now, this pass from Raya in the 15th minute was absolutely shocking. You can actually, you know, Moreno's actually got there, which we're asking a lot. He's up and down the field. I know he's a central midfielder and you've got to be able to do that, but you're asking a lot from the individual. You really are asking a lot. Raya's pass is terrible, but that sums up our day. Honestly, I think that sums up what we're doing. Where am I now? Where are we? Where's the next slide? And you can see Partey saying what's going on. Moreno's taking a while. There's nobody else available. So we're playing into Bournemouth hands, which, again, big up Bournemouth. They're not the best in the league, but they're one of the best coach teams under Areola. They can give you a game, you know. And I think that goal was all our own doing. It came out of nothing. Trossard's played a nonchalant pass. We've all gone to sleep, and I think it was on brand with what we saw, people. The long and short passing didn't run, and actually, what led to the penalty for me upset me a lot. Really, it really upset me. It's a simple long ball. You do this against Liverpool, forget about it. Forget about it. You do that against Liverpool. I'm not getting at Kai Havertz for losing the duel, but we've lost the duel. I actually think Kivio's done well. He's dropped off a couple yards to deal with the threat, and it's on brand. Like it really is on brand in the sense of, you know, the pass has to get there, Kivio. It has. I'm not just blaming Kivio. That pass has to get there. The standards are not there. Obviously, I hate losing. I definitely hate drawing. I want to win every game. But it's about the performance. Kivior, that pass has to get there. It has to. You've done the best work. It has to get back to Raya. You dropped Raya in it. Raya's obviously the villain for that game. I don't think this is the best screenshot from myself from the Athletic people. But when you look at the circulation and progression, look at Bournemouth's passing lanes versus ours. It's heavily in our own half. So again, we're playing into their own hands, and you can actually see ever so slightly Moreno's kind of in that half space. So it was too compact. It was too narrow. It was square pegs in round holes, and we kind of contributed to our nonsense. Martinelli should bag this or do a lot better. We've been here against Spurs. We've been here against Atalanta. We've been here a couple of times with Martinelli. I'm not blaming Martinelli, but this just shows you how things can go. Bearing in mind, we're down to 10 men at this point, and we're probably exhausted. He puts this in. Who knows? Bournemouth, the fans might get excited. They come down our end. We concede. But that's 90 seconds away from, Bournemouth obviously getting the first, which was a great set piece once again. And then obviously we know how it worked out, people, which... Again, horrible. You have to bag that. And that's the only benefit I would say. The press worked for that incident. Martinelli has to bag. He didn't. It is what it is. Now, Saliba's now out. Saliba probably plays tomorrow. We're doing a watch along against Shakhtar, people. It raises in question centre-half partnerships, or the back four. Against Liverpool, do you go White, Calafiori, Gabriel, Timber? Do you go Timber, White, Gabriel, Calafiori? Do you go White, Timber in centre-half, Gabriel, Calafiori? Do you go White, Kivior, Gabriel, Calafiori? I thought Kivior might have been someone that could have been selected. Me, personally, after that nonsense I saw against Bournemouth, I don't want to kill you for that, but you're not built for the Liverpool game, if I'm honest with you. Do you actually left field choice, people? Do you put Declan Rice centre-half and go with Moreno and Partey? I don't think we'll see that, people. And then we don't know the fitness and the status of players, but this is one where you hope Tomiyasu would be involved, because then it throws into debate: does he play right back? Does he play left back? Does he play centre half? Our defensive ranks are really being tested, and even with the depth, and that was one place we felt comfortable, is really being tested. You look throughout the health of the squad, even assuming these men are in the matchday squad. How fit is Zinchenko? How fit is Timber? How fit is White and Calafiori based on that they had knocks? How much legs does Moreno have? Sterling, if he starts, how much he's got. Martinelli, what's going on? And there's probably a bunch of other names I didn't say. So we're going to have to get with it. Bearing in mind, we played on Saturday. Probably evidently on Sunday had a recovery session. Today they're back in training. They're playing tomorrow. So their squad is being tested. And I do think a lot of this on the pitch against Bournemouth was incredibly self-inflicted. And I think because of what we did or didn't do in the market, a lot of what we're doing. Now, any team's going to struggle. Rodri comes out the City team. Kevin De Bruyne has gone. There's issues. You could argue that with Haaland be busting blanks. But it feels like we don't learn our lessons, people. Arteta said in February, we've got one of the smallest squads. Have we really? I think we brought in some quality additions that improved the 11 and put pressure and indirectly make our squad bigger. But is the squad strong enough for the Premier League, the Premier League, let alone the Prem and the Champs, let alone factoring in the FA Cup and the League Cup? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. When you look at some of the statistics, in his 157th appearance in a match in Europe's Big Five leagues, William Saliba has been given a red card for the very first time. So it's a learning curve for him, people, really and truly. Apparently, Arsenal against Bournemouth, that was our 18th red card in the Premier League since Arteta's first game as a manager in December of 2019. That's at least 5 more times than any other team. So do we have a discipline issue? And again, we offered nothing. Yes, we're down to 10 men, and it's going to be difficult. It is. But 3 shots, none on target, 49% of the ball. It's unacceptable, really, at a point in the game, if I'm completely honest. You look at the post-match comments, Arteta said, a very sad evening, very disappointed with the result. It was a really tough context again. It's hard enough to play 11 versus 11. We made life very difficult for ourselves again, playing for 60 to 70 minutes with 10 men. But I cannot fault the effort of the players, how much they wanted, how much they tried. They did, but trying don't mean nothing. I might try to get 100k subs. I'm nowhere near 70. So we got to go back home and get back to the drawing board. But in this league, it's the first time third time, it's happened in 8 games. It's just an accident waiting to happen. It's so difficult. Is it? Because you could argue maybe, Trossard, Declan Rice, contentious. Maybe Saliba's a yellow card. I just think it's flash moments where we've been stupid, if I'm honest with you. It's very difficult because obviously you haven't planned for that, especially that early. So any solution, especially with the amount of injuries we have in certain positions, becomes tougher. Smash the like button if you haven't. But we tried, and it's unbelievable. The spirit, the work rate, and how the boys tried to do it. We understood it better and better. We didn't really concede anything apart from one action at the start of the second half, and it with 0-0. We had the biggest moment of the game with Martinelli. Look how long it took to create a chance, 10 men or not. And he's kind of dropped Martinelli in that, people, and he's bigged up the travelling fans. Again, people, I think this is Declan Rice's comments. I could say a million things, but I think I'm proud of the players, to be honest. I think the way we reacted going down to 10 men was not ideal. We knew that as a group of players, we just said in the dressing room, that's 3 times in 8 games that we've let our standards slip. And if you want to compete at the top, you cannot let that happen. You can't. 3 different players now, assuming it never happens again. But again, the reaction we showed to that and the belief, even on the pitch at halftime, that we could go and win the game and the chances we had. I'm proud of these boys, and I'm proud of the mentality that these boys in the club show. Now, I still believe we're one of the best defensive teams in the Premier and in Europe, but are we showing that? Are we showing that with our discipline, with the 3 red cards? Are we showing that? I'm sure every goal is available, but are we showing that with the goals we've conceded? The couple against Leicester, the one against Southampton, done from a 10 men or not, done from a set piece against Southampton, the indiscipline which led to the penalty. I don't know. But what I do know is every isolated that Bournemouth game, you do that against Liverpool, it's not looking good. It's looking like it's looking like the results of what would have happened if when we rocked up with Rob Holding and Callum Chambers and all of these guys. So yeah, big up them for the, big up the away fans, big up the fight you did show. But fundamentally, we lost in it, really. Once again, Declan Rice said we kicked ourselves in the foot 3 times in 8 games. We got away with it at home to Brighton and away at City. After that, he said, we can't make silly mistakes. You need all your best players on the pitch at all times. The belief is so high and we'll stick together. This is football. Whatever happens, the most important thing is that you stick together and stay in the right direction. There you have it, man. There you have it, really and truly. And again, on the Saliba challenge, I don't know. It's a split-second decision, said Arteta. You have to make. The striker is on his back. Obviously, he didn't expect the ball, and then suddenly it's coming his way. He's made a decision, and that's it. The ref decided to give a yellow and then a red. We can't have any complaints, people. As he said, the decision's done. I think Mikel Arteta sounded a bit peed off, if I'm honest with you, in his post-game comments. We clearly missed Saka and Odegaard. We missed the creativity, 100%. We miss organisation. He's the nucleus of our midfield. We look lost in midfield. I'm not saying the 3 midfielders are the only reason we lost, but it's a big factor. When your midfield is not showing and it's disillusioned, the fullbacks are irrelevant. The wingers are now out of the games. Kai Havertz is working with scraps. We're playing into Bournemouth's hands. Has to be a learning curve. We have to do better. He said, I can't assess a performance when you play 60 minutes with 10 men away from home. It's something impossible. Arteta, I know you're a liar. You're saying this in the public. You therefore said something different to the players, and you're evidently saying something different to your coaching staff. So then when we get into player ratings, people, and it's important to watch the game again for me to kind of level out a bit. First one was emotionally charged. David Raya, I'm not going to lie, 4. I don't think he was helped by external factors. I think your passing was shaky. Ben White, I don't think you was terrible. I'll give you a 5. Saliba, it's a 2, bro. You got sent off, bro. Gabriel, I'll give you a 5. You try to hold it up. Calafiori, low level 5. Moreno, watching the game again, I think he was set up to fail to a degree. I'm not saying Arteta will ever do that to somebody, but it just felt like you was in an island. You're trying to do 8 stuff, 10 stuff, 6 stuff. You're by yourself, really and truly. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt of a 5. Rice, I'll give you a 5. I think he was quite ineffective. Partey, I think he offered the most of the midfield yet again. Just about a 5. Trossard, boy, ineffective, and you did give the ball away. So I'm going to have to give you a 4. Sterling, I have to give you a 4. It's not all your fault, but it's a 4. Kai, actually feel sorry for you, Kai. I'll give you a 5. I did see work rate. I did see you offer, but we know Havertz is a service-reliant player. He's not someone that's going to drive with the ball. He needs the midfield. You ain't got a midfield, forget about it. So I give you a 5. Martinelli, just for that chance, you have to get a 4. Ethan, really, you weren't on the field long enough to bring nothing to the table. Kivio, I allow you, I'm gonna be a little nicer to you than I would Saliba because I got higher standards, but it's a 3. That pass has to fucking get back to David Raya. You've done so well, it has to. And I think when you look at that, we look at the ball over the top, we look at Trossard, when you look at everything, it's just not good enough. We're all in this together collectively, not good enough from no one. And I think Kivio, that's on brand. Every one of those players, not a single one of you, even the ones that I've given 5s, can say they played well. And even if you played well, it's irrelevant. Last time I checked, it's 11 players out there, or 10 for us, but you get the point, people. So we're just gonna have to hold that, hug that, and it is what it is in that regards, people. They done us from a corner, but it's a lovely corner. Nobody was marking Christie. Obviously, it's not to scale. He put the ball in the back of the net. Obviously, they were. What's going on here? I think I've been done dirty, people, here with it moving, but they were kind of killing us, really. Again, I think this has changed around a bit, but the way they set up, they were killing us. Like, they had men there, obviously, naturally Moreno and Partey. The passing lanes are cut off, people. You had their centre halves high up the field. Again, I'm gonna have to improvise, people. Yeah, you had their fullback, but Bournemouth, did very well. You had their fullbacks gambling. You had their 2 midfielders very high. We could not get out of our, and you know what, 10 men or not, it doesn't matter. We couldn't get out. So when Raya's going long to Havertz, there's no one to link up with Havertz. They're just winning the ball back. Partey's getting it. Declan Rice and Moreno are standing next to each other. I felt sorry for Moreno because 1 minute Moreno's having to go here. Then he's having to kind of go forward and try and work with the flick-ons. Then obviously, if we drop everyone back here, people, and again, apologies because I actually had this sorted. I don't know what's going on. But if we drop everyone back, we try to press in a two. You got Kai Havertz and Moreno there. Then obviously you got the other midfielders. I felt sorry for Moreno. I genuinely felt sorry for Moreno in that they were just, we don't even need to focus on this. We just pass it. We played into their hands, man. It was horrible, man. So we have to keep it moving. Howard Webb, you would have seen this, and I think every Arsenal fan watching it on TV, from you saw it pan to Howard Webb. Way everybody started to get a bit shook, didn't they, people? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. In terms of the press conference going into the Shakhtar game, is there anything interesting he said, people? On the message after the Bournemouth game, very clear, we put a bit of perspective into the situation. There is perspective, but fundamentally, 11 men or not, the performance just was rubbish. Obviously, we want to win in any context. The reality is we made that context very difficult for ourselves. It was very difficult already with the amount of players that we had out, the schedule and the games that we had to play. But that's the reality for the game. We didn't get away with it. We could have done, and it would have been a very different narrative. Of course, narratives are decided whether you won, lost, or draw. If we were down to 10 men, Martinelli scores, we nick it 1-0. It's a masterclass. We got out of jail kind of thing. Let's be honest. Like against Aston Villa in that second half, to a degree, Leicester and Southampton. It is what it is. Okay, now we have to win again with that context. We have lost for the first time in 6 months, so let's show it. Discipline record, we've gone over it, people. Something needs to be addressed. On the availability of Saka and Odegaard, they are closer and both progressing really well. Martin is still not fit. Oh, I hope he's fit to play some minutes against Liverpool. With Bukayo, let's see how he feels today and in the training session that we have later on. Our first defeat in 17 matches and having to eradicate mistakes. We need to do better, but we need to keep 11 men on the pitch. If we're going to appeal Saliba's red card, I'll leave that more to the club to understand the circumstances as well as other examples that are very clear in the same position. They have to decide that. They gave a yellow, they reviewed it, they gave a red. What grounds do we really have to stand for? Saliba's not a factor against Liverpool. I would love to wake up and we bust case and Saliba can play, but that's an absolute myth for me. Football not being the most important thing in the world. Family, health, all these things are more important, but there's very few things, and football dictates the mood, people. We need to go on another unbeaten run. We need to improve our discipline. On Timber, he said, I think he's going to be close. Obviously, we have to see how he deals with training with the whole group because he hasn't done that yet, but we'll be pretty close, hopefully. I'm not going to lie. I want the strongest team possible against Shakhtar. Saliba has to play. If there's any concerns around Odegaard, Saka, Timber, you lot, rest up. Kivio, you get some minutes. The bad boys need to play against Liverpool on Sunday, people. On Ethan, which I think people are doing too much. I do think Ethan needs to be exposed to certain more minutes. I do think he could have played against Bournemouth. I do think Bournemouth, Leicester, Southampton, he could have been exposed. I do think Arteta has tried to find solutions, but if Odegaard's not there, you ain't got a like-for-like replacement. We put Havertz there, we put Trossard there. You ain't really put Ethan there. You tried a different midfield thing. It didn't work. Find solutions. I think Ethan's ready. We need to give him scope to develop and whatnot, but you get the point. I think it's identifying moments and understand where he's at, where the team is, and where it's the optimal moment to throw a player into that context. So he's already done a lot in a very short period of time. So let's take it step by step and make sure those steps are consistent and can allow him to grow in the manner that we want him to. Big him up for that, people. On how our midfield were performing before Saliba's red, where it was different, obviously, because Leao has been playing more central. Argument's sake, I don't know what you would have done, and the same thing could have happened. Could you, on reflection, should you just have kept Trossard in that role there and maybe put Sterling on the left or Jesus? I don't know. The same thing probably still would have happened. Gabby had a calf issue with the national team and he wasn't fit enough to start, especially with what happened last year when we lost him for 5 to 6 weeks. We didn't want to do that, which meant we had to adapt, and we had to adapt as well. Our midfield is very difficult to proper assess because I expected the first 15 to 20 minutes away at Bournemouth to be a certain way. Arteta, that's cap. Internally, that's cap. Anyways, people, there are different and new connections that obviously with the injuries that we have, we try. It's like the first time we played Leao and Kai, I heard a lot of things about whether we were playing 4-4-2, then it was flowing and it was magnificent. So things need time in terms of unique connections. Yesterday was not the best one to use to analyze and take a lot of things from. On Zinchenko's role, he said, yes, hopefully a big one. Obviously, we need him fit. Availability is a big factor to maintain consistency. And last year, we had a lot of issues with that. The start of this season as well. Hopefully, he's now fit. We can use him and he can start to impact the team in the manner which he can, which is really powerful as well. That's why we're hoping. Big up Jack Wilshere if he does go and join Bournemouth, Norwich, do what he's doing. Bournemouth living rent-free in my head. Mikel Moreno spoke as well, people. He said what it would mean to win the Champions League. Obviously, he would love to do that, people. He did say, I think we have a pretty complete team, a pretty complete coaching staff as well. They all have that winning mentality as well. They might not have the experience yet because we have a really, really young team. do we? Luckily, I had some experiences where I won. So the experience when you have a moment of truth, when you're in a final or semi-finals, to be able to keep that mentality, to keep that calmness and try to do whatever you're doing on a daily basis has made you get to that stage. And now one thing I would say with Moreno, you know, I will cut you a bit of grace because I do think you weren't the best, but I think you were set up to fail. You got some minutes for the national team. You got little 20 minutes here and there. You got some substantial minutes, obviously, against Bournemouth. So let's get up to it, really and truly, if I'm honest with you, because between you, Partey and Rice, I wouldn't be against that midfield starting again against Liverpool. I don't really want it, but who does Moreno come in for? Because I think Partey's been the best of all of them people. So yeah, people, man, this is what he's saying. We obviously know we need to bounce back. Shakhtar might not be the biggest and baddest in Europe. Evidently, we know we need to win the game, people. And you have to give him time to get back to his best, man. And obviously, he's spoken about Cesc Fabregas and a bunch of other stuff. Is there anything of note? We know we put work into set pieces. We know he's worked with what's his face again, man? He's been with Odegaard before. If we get into some other news, allegedly, Arsenal are among 3 powerful Premier League sides showing strong interest in RB Leipzig playmaker whose arrival would help both Martin Odegaard and Mikel Moreno. According to Court of Side people, RB Salzburg's 20-year-old playmaker Oscar Guluk, forgive me for mispronunciation, is drawing interest from Arsenal. The Israeli international has provided 7 goal contributions in 7 games in the Austrian Bundesliga this term and would not only provide adequate cover for Odegaard if signed, but would allow Moreno to play in a more familiar role. I like him. I think he's all right. I think he's technically good. I think he plays for a good team in Salzburg from what I've seen, but I think it's paper talk. I don't think he moves the needle in that regard. Arteta says the team have to be careful to blood. Ethan, we've seen this already, people. I think even there's Moreno compared us to a basketball team, which is great, but like, are we gonna I just want to be a football team, to be fair with you. Going back to Moreno, he said yes, sometimes it's crazy because obviously we've got a lot of height now. I'm in the corridors or the training ground just walking, and back at my old club, I used to be one of the tallest, so everyone was smaller than me, and now I look around and everyone is taller than me. We look like a basketball team now. Football has now changed, and now you need a strong team. Physicality is key. We need to be the most complete team possible. I love the installed physicality. I love all of the, generally, not so much recently, but generally the defensive improvements that we've got. I need to see a bit more football, though. I need to see us playing in the middle third. I need to see us creating, let alone converting chances, people. But he is right. You need the physicality aspect, the technical aspect, and the tactical one. You need to be a total team to achieve big things. It's not only about being tall and big. You need mentality. If you're tall and big, but don't go with 100% intention to win the ball, it's just nothing. The main thing is the mentality. We have that. Fair enough, man. I don't think Bournemouth was the best thing ever, but yeah, as I said before, I think players change with age, with experiences, says Moreno. Obviously, I'm not the same player now that I was when I was 18, 19. I've been evolving my game, and I think when I was 18, 19, I didn't have this physicality level. When you mature, when you grow, when you start working and training, you obviously get better in physical aspects. Smash the like button and subscribe if you're new here. Tactically aspect of the game. So I think I have always had the mentality of trying to win every duel, but now I feel more prepared physically to do so. As I've said in a couple of interviews before, I'm not promising I'm going to win every duel, that's for sure, but I can promise I'll try to fight for every duel like it was the last one. That's been my mentality forever, and that's the mentality I'll still have in the future. Big you up. Love to hear that, people. Continuing stuff. When does every Arsenal player's contract expire? Saliba 2027, we need to get that done. Tomiyasu 2026, if these injuries persist, is that going to improve? You'd imagine Gabriel Magalhaes 2027, that gets improved. Zinchenko, I think your days are numbered. Kivio's under contract for a long period of time, but I think Kivio, Tavares, Tierney, don't expect you to be here that much longer. Declan Rice is 2029. Partey is 2025. His form might dictate giving him a new deal. Probably unlikely to see that happen. Lokonga, Jorginho, we don't know what's going on there. You'd imagine Nelson gets cut. You'd imagine Saka, we need to get a new deal sorted out there. Gabriel Jesus is contracted until 2027. The decision has to be made. There were some rumors about Trossard getting a new deal. To us, that hasn't happened. So, yeah, I don't know why that's there, but yeah, apparently Arsenal and Chelsea are among the clubs to have been offered the chance to sign PSG forward Koulibaly in 2025. Forget that. He's rubbish, man. He's Bandulu. I don't care how many goals he scores. If he signs for Arsenal and does well, great, but he's meaty, man. Apparently Man United have joined Arsenal, City, and a bunch of other clubs, including Real Madrid, in the fight for Florian Wirtz. Would love to be proven wrong and wake up one day and we get Wirtz. Remember we was linked with this mystery German, whether it was Sane, Wirtz, Musiala, whatever have you. Probably a myth in that regards, people. What's going on here? Arsenal have had great success raiding Liga for talented centre-backs in recent years, capturing both William Saliba and Gabriel. Who have we been linked with? We've been linked with Lence's centre-back, Abu Bakr Kuznov. forgive me for mispronunciation. The 20-year-old is rated apparently very highly. You know what? But if he's got the ability, bring him in it, because Saliba might go to Real Madrid one day. Apparently, Benjamin Sesko is still struggling to be the game changer he needs if he wants to sign for a big club. I still think he's a work in progress. I still think Arsenal are interested in him. Obviously, you know, at the start of the season, he started slow. He is scoring goals, and you'd imagine everybody in England that needs a forward will be in the ring there. Semenya's claimed he's an Arsenal fan, adding fuel to the fire of the rumours with him. Allegedly, Arsenal remain interested in Vlahovic and could reportedly lodge a 60 million bid for the Juventus forward next summer. No doubt he's probably being watched. I think because of what he did to us in the past, that's a myth. I think we're only linked with him because of the contract stuff at Juventus and the fact we need a striker. But, you know, it's the same names. If it's not Vlahovic, it's Sesko, then it's Gyökeres, occasionally it's Isaac, and then there's probably a next name that I've forgotten, people. I mean, I wouldn't be against Vlahovic, man, but I think you did us dirty. Declan Rice has said we need to keep fighting, people. Jamie Gittins is attracting interest from Arsenal, Spurs, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, although Dortmund want more than 50 million for the winger to consider selling. Probably not going to do that in January, people. And once again, he's attracting interest. We could be allegedly facing a points deduction, people, whatever this means, owing to loans and shareholder stuff and whatnot. I don't believe this. I think this is just clickbait and all this nonsense. So I'm not even going to get into it, people. If you haven't smashed the like button, please make sure you do such. And let me see you lot's comments. Thank you, Derek, for supporting, man. Man are talking about dueling. What about the past? Moreno might be as slow as Kivio. I'm going to give Moreno time, man. I don't think Moreno is someone that's going to change our fortunes and set the world alight. But I think you come into a mess against Bournemouth. I don't think you're fully fit and you're playing catch up. And I don't think we've been the best. I think you'll be all right. I think you're a smart addition. I think you do well. I don't think you're the game-changing, transformative midfielder that's really going to fill the Granit Xhaka void. I don't think he's the quickest, but I think because he kind of glides on the pitch, I think it's deceiving that he ain't got pace. But I must admit, he does look like he's lacking a yard of pace, man. So, yeah, it's peak. Oh, damn, you started at 3. Yeah, man. I delayed it from 2. You know, I've been on the grind today, man. I got a video coming out with Jordan. Obviously, you know, make sure you're following him. He's on AFTV and a bunch of others. I got Lee Judges. We recorded that. That's out at 7 p.m. Saeed, George, Roms, LB, Don. We was on Saeed's channel. I made my debut. I got my call up off the bench. So, yeah, I was there. So, yeah, man, the content's just ticking over. And obviously, I had to be here with you lot. This game needed a ball carrier. You saw how effective Jesus was against this team. I hear that, and you're not wrong, but has Jesus been doing the thing? I do agree, you know, and that's where Jesus needs to get his act together, because I don't want to see Kai Havertz in midfield. But if Jesus was in a bit of better form, maybe it would have been ugly. It might not have been pretty, but Jesus, you could have been slapped up front and then Havertz in midfield. I wonder if, in hindsight, though, if Mikel Arteta would have said, you know what, I'm going to start Ethan. You know what, better yet, should I keep Trossard in there now? That would have maybe opened up a Raheem Sterling off the left, or a Gabriel Jesus, or maybe an Ethan on the left or the right. Clearly, Arteta tried something else. You know, it was a trade-off. Nobody can do what Odegaard does, so let's be a bit more solid defensively and have a bit of tenacity in midfield. It did not work. We all saw it, man. If I'm honest, big up Riley in the cup, man. I didn't say sack Arteta. I think there naturally should be question marks over, can you get us over the line? But I didn't say sack him. Maybe there's something Arteta can tweak with our pressing, because Bournemouth found space behind the fullbacks through counter-pressing. There was too much space. The press was dead. Moreno's having to do too much. Havertz is trying to ting. Sterling's trying to ting. You're right. The press wasn't there. And to be fair with you, yes, I think there's a correlation with our press getting worse and Odegaard being out the side. But I don't think it's been the way it has. I think our defensive standards have dropped off. But prior to the international break, we conceded 6 goals. At that point last season, we conceded 6. But I think that was papering over the cracks. We need to get back to that focus. And don't get twisted. That's not just the defenders. That's everybody in this team. Our first attacker is David Raya. Why the hell do we waffle about a goalkeeper's ball playing ability? Our first defender is Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, whoever the hell plays up there, and typically Martin Odegaard. The backwards play was 9 out of 10, and Saliba got sent off as a result of it. No winning team plays backwardly that way. Trossard's just made a dumb decision. I think Trossard's generally trying to send that back to Raya. It never happened, man. If we lose the 9th game of the season, we should sack our manager. You man are weak. I'll sack Arteta if we lose to Liverpool. I've reached the state that if we lose or draw on Sunday, then I don't care about the Prem anymore. I think it's a massive dent to the title challenges. But at the same time, I'm not with this, pardon my language, this bitch boy shit. Like, bro, everybody pull up their pants. Yes, we might look back in May, effed up against Brighton, maybe could have beat City. There's probably some L's pending on the way. Messed up against Bournemouth, maybe dropped too many points. But what are we going to do? We're still in the champs. We're still fighting for the Prem. Are we going to try salvage something, or are we going to go? And any player that's at Arsenal, that's woe is me, I'm sorry for myself, any coaching stuff, come out the club. You have to try salvage stuff. I'm not saying the narrative should shift, but we know how football fans are. We lost to Bournemouth. If you go and beat Liverpool, get a result against Inter, do something against Chelsea and Newcastle, the narrative changes. And a lot of fans, I'm not saying this to make people calm down, but this is our first defeat of the season, our second defeat of 2024. People weren't, and it's just gone. Like certain fans go from Arsenal, the best thing since sliced bread, bring on Real Madrid in the champs, do this, do that, get dealt with by Bournemouth. You know, they popped our cherries, and we're in issues, man. Will you invite Northside or League on your channel? Anyone is welcome. Shout out Lee and shout out Northside, man. Big up to you, Deluded. What happened to Gunner on Say stream? Why wasn't he there? You'd have to ask Lee, man. You know, I got the sub call up, man. I don't know what happened to Lee. Maybe he got a Saka injury. I got the call up, man. And I'm happy I didn't go out like Raheem Sterling, but big up everybody, man. What would be your lineup for the Liverpool game, my brother? I don't know, because there's bare injuries, and I'll be real. I don't know. At this moment in time today, in an attempt of answering your question, I think it's best that, you know what, because I think it's a visual learner. I have to forget the numbers and all of that crap, people. But right, obviously in goal. It's the centre half stuff, man. It's the centre half. It's like, who the hell? Even me, I should have asked this. Could it be worth switching to a back three? You get Havertz and someone next to him. You get a bit more steel in midfield. You got a back three. Obviously, if it's Calafiori, Gabriel, and maybe Ben White or someone, you demand them to have a bit more courage on the ball. Maybe that's something we'll consider later on in the week, people. But it's the centre half, man. Saliba, man. Saliba, broski. Do you put Tim again? This is all assuming Timber's fit, but do you put Timber centre back? Do you have? I don't mind two left footers, but I'll probably change my mind. But you know what? For now, good question, man. Smash the like button. You know what? For now, I'm gonna slap Timber there. Obviously, you know, Gabriel, gonna slap you there. You know what? Let's be fair to Raya, just because it looks a bit better. Let's slap Raya's name there. It's a bit unfair. Well, we ain't got our number 2 Saliba, have we? You know what? For today, just do a thing for me, Calafiori, man. Just do a thing for me. Do a thing for me. And then obviously, you got White in there. And then you got a factor like, boy. And then you got, well, is Martin, you know what? I'm gonna bet that Martinelli's fit, you know. I'm gonna bet that he's fit. But again, we don't know. I'm going to bet Martinelli's fit. Hopefully, there's no relapse. I'm going to bet Martinelli's fit. Kai, you know what time it is. You know Havertz has to play, people, and we're going to need him to drop into midfield, because if you do not win that midfield battle against Liverpool, especially what Arne Slot is showing, I think that's the most impressive thing about Liverpool, that midfield. If you don't win your individual and collective battles, we're done. We are done. If you're not switched on with our high line, if you don't win your individual battles, if you don't take your chances, we're done. Forget about it. Don't even turn up at the Emirates. So, assuming Martinelli's there, Havertz is obviously there. Let's cool off on the right wing for a sec. I'm not gonna lie to you, look. I wouldn't be against Moreno, Partey, and Moreno, Partey, Rice playing, because if you can't win, don't lose. But the way I'm feeling on this Monday, I want to go back to this. We probably showed our hand and we might not have much off the bench. But for me, Trossard, you go back in that little role. Moreno, all it up on the bench, man. You'll come off the bench for sure. I think Partey's probably been the best of the midfield three. I know Declan Rice ain't been hitting the heights, but I don't feel comfortable without Declan Rice in our team, much less against Liverpool. So you two are going to go out there. And then it draws me to the right-hand side, man, which you obviously evidently hope Mr. Bukayo Saka is there, but you have to put an asterisk there. You don't know. I don't know. Arteta done me. And I'm sure he done a lot of you if Saka was in your FPL team. The way Arteta was moving, he's like Wenger. Sometimes he makes out players are not going to be involved. Then you see them. He makes out players are going to be there. Then they're not. Maybe Saka was going to be fit. Then he picked up a knock. I don't know. I'm not on the ground at Arsenal. I'm just a fan like you lot. Because I'm starting to do the calculations. Like, I don't even want to. This would be me. And let's ignore the right for a sec. But do you even just do a scumbag thing? Havertz, you know what? It's not pretty. It's not pretty. But it's not going to be pretty against Liverpool. And I know Jesus' form on the floor. But do you go with Jesus up there? Do you bring Sterling in? Now, I'm not a fan of Sterling on the right-hand side. We ain't got other options. I'm not a fan of Sterling on the right-hand side. It's too predictable. And for me, with Raheem Sterling, going back to kind of piggybanking off what we said about midfield, Sterling's a service. Havertz is a service-reliant man. Havertz is best running in behind, off the ball. Sterling is the best as well. I don't like seeing Sterling here, bro. I don't like seeing Sterling here because Sterling ain't a dribbler like that. He's not going to go beat pause 20, 25 players. You want Sterling, whether just using Partey as an example, and again, ignore the numbers. Just painting these guys in, people. Just painting a picture. Remove these lot for a sec. Just painting a random ass picture. Yeah, let's make it a bit more sensible. Really, let's exaggerate the backline. Let's exaggerate the backline. I don't know how we got here, people, but big up you lot. You lot getting the creative juices flowing. Ignore the numbers. The numbers don't mean anything, people. Who's going and go? F it, you go and go. You want Kai Havertz in behind. You maybe want Kai Havertz playing a little 1-2. He plays a 1-2 to Rice in behind. You know, kind of exaggerating this so it plays a point. You don't want Sterling having to drop deep to receive the ball. You don't even want Saka or any of the wingers there. Sterling's dead, especially down the right. What you want to see is maybe Sterling plays a neat little 1-2 with White. I don't know. And he makes that run off the ball and you play it in behind. That's what you want to see from Raheem Sterling and with Raheem Sterling, people. We're not doing that. We haven't done that. Not that Sterling's done any, obviously he ain't had significant minutes and there's a lot of baggage and all that crap, but we ain't seen much. So yeah, going back to the lineup, like, it's not looking good. Do you even put a Kai Havertz there? You go with a Martinelli, you leave Trossard as the super sub. Do you drop out Raheem Sterling completely, people? Sorry. Do you put Jesus on the right, which he has shown even last season he could do a thing there? Do you, keep Havertz up front? Do you, Sterling super sub? I mean, it is his old team. There might be something there. And what better way to endear yourself to the Arsenal fan base than to obviously score in a game of this magnitude? Do you run Trossard there? Do you go to a back three? As I said, these are the question marks that are going to rumble and rumble and rumble and rumble and rumble on going into the week. So I don't have a monkeys of a clue, man. Arsenal don't beat Liverpool in the form of in the form they're in. G. Weirder things have happened, man. Weirder things have happened. Football ain't one on paper. I mean, if we don't believe we can win, don't turn up, man. Sterling just got to put crosses in. I think Georgie might come in for Shakhtar. You are looking at the Jorginhos. Saliba's going to... I think Saliba plays because you can't play on the weekend. Zini might get some minutes. Kivior might get a start. You might see a Jorginho coming in. There won't be a high line. We're pretty much going to look like Chelsea, just better attack. Marvin, on what basis should he have started? There's better players ahead of him. I'm not sure there. Thoughts on Saliba red card compared to Jota's challenge and it being a yellow? I can't remember Jota's challenge unless Jota was the man that was pulled down by Tosin. You could, I don't think Tosin... Pardon me, could have had any complaints if he got a red card. If I was Liverpool, of course, I want my man sent off. I don't think it's the same. I think, Saliba's basically the last man. Tosin isn't. It starts in Liverpool's half. So I think it's quite different. I know Arsenal fans are going to do the woe is meeting and all of this and conspiracy theory. There's a lot of conspiracies against Arsenal. We're definitely ref a lot harsher. That's not one of them. If I'm completely honest, man. For Shakhtar, Partey right back, Benny centre back, Sterling right. We're always not going to be pretty. Jesus left wing, Trossard AM, Havertz up top. I now understand the reason why Academy boys were leaving. The coach can't even trust them when the season players are not available. Ethan should have started against Bournemouth. I think it's a bit harsh. I do think Arteta could trust Ethan a bit more, but I think there needs to be balance, if I'm honest with you. And it's going to be, whatever club, I do think, on one hand, I do think Arteta could give more opportunities. But on the other hand, I don't think Arteta is on the Arsene Wenger thing. He's not on just giving debuts. Like, for me, if you're not the Lewis Skellies, the Ethans, he's 14. Do not gas him. The Max Dalman soon. If you're not on what them man are on, that kind of level, I don't think he's going to work with you. It's a bit like, it's not the same, but Pep Guardiola, there's a bunch of talented players at City and a couple of them have popped up in other places. Lavia, for example, didn't get a sniff at Chelsea. I mean, at City, doing great again for Chelsea if he could stay fit. I think if you're not, like, it's like Pep, if you're not Foden, if you're not Rico Lewis, if to a degree Cole Palmer, I know he wanted to leave. If you're not on what them man are on, I don't think he's on blood in you, but I think he could do a lot better. But at the same time, it's an impossible job for these young players. That's why I rate people leaving. It's almost impossible. If you play for, I know Mickey Moore's playing for Spurs here and there, but how many are getting opportunities? If you're City, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, all of these things, they'll always bring through 1-2 players, but it's very difficult when you're fighting for a league title. And obviously I agree with what you're saying, but you can't play all of these young players, play all these experienced players, give everybody a chance, but also, have some stability with playing the same 11. Youngsters need to keep doing what they're doing and get out, man. We needed a Dubai trip like last season. Nevertheless, we need to match up. Bro, these men should not be going to Dubai. Like, what they need to do is some soul searching and get back to basics. For me anyways. It's just a back to basics thing. I didn't think Saliba deserved the red. I can't I think it's a red, bro. I don't yellow card. I thought we bust case. My initial thought was it was a red. Like I don't agree with denying a goal scoring opportunity purely because Ivan Nilsson has a lot to do, bro. I'm not being funny, but this is assuming that when Saliba does that, or let's just assume Saliba left him, which it's easy for me to say. It's a split second. I've never played Premier League football, but I thought Saliba could have just my man's through on goal. Maybe Raya can bail us out. Obviously, you're going to get back and make it difficult. Ivan Nilsson has a lot to do, you know. Obviously, if it's Mo Salah's peak, but he's got this assumes that Ben White and Saliba are not going to engage. He can get past Raya and someone else isn't going to tuck in. I think it's a red, man. You're the last man. You're doing an idiot thing. Saliba played a dumb game. He won a dumb prize. It is what it is. Trossard put him in it. We're not here to blame just Saliba or Trossard or Kivior for, you know, playing a part in the pen, or David Raya for his kicking. We're in this together. Nobody played well. Nobody left that Bournemouth game with a 7, 8, 9 out of 10. Nobody. The best player probably Ethan, and by default because you didn't play that much. I feel sorry for Sterling because obviously you weren't doing amazing. Things happen. You had to get subbed. Is what it is. I feel sorry for Kivior, to be fair. You know, you got subbed on and off, but this is the harsh reality of things, man. Really, like that's the problem with playing a high line at times, which I don't want to get rid of our high line. I like our high line, but that's when you're not on it and you're not switched on, that's the issue you have, really. And it came from nothing. We gave the ball away very cheaply, even before the Trossard moment. So the game, everything on brand. Even with 11, we was poor, didn't defend well enough, didn't, you know, attack well enough. Obviously, the only thing close to a positive I could say is we were kind of holding on down to 10 men, but then come the 70th minute when, you know, mentally you're getting tired, let alone physically you're getting tired, mistakes start to happen, things start to happen, and we let ourselves down, really. You know, I definitely would have been angry if we drew the game, but I think most fans, including myself, had we have left there 0-0 or 1-1 or just a draw with 10 men, we would have said, you know what, it's not good. Maybe this could have happened, that could have happened, but you live to fight another day. That weren't the case. You know, let's be honest, across a 38-game calendar, sometimes you're going to win games being the second best all over the park, which we've got out of jail. Sometimes you're going to lose when you don't deserve to lose. Sometimes you're going to get a draw because that's what you deserve. And sometimes you're going to get exactly what should have happened, and that's losing to Bournemouth. 70 minutes, 3 away in 9 minutes. Simple as that. For me, anyways, that it is what it is. That, and the biggest thing for me now is I don't know how the season's going to pan out, but and I am being harsh and paraphrasing, but 2 points dropped at City, 2 points dropped at Brighton, 3 points dropped now. Someone do the maths. You got to chase that back, and this is assuming we don't drop no more points. Because, you know, City, even people can say City are not playing well. They're making games difficult. They got injuries, this and that. City at their worst is better than a lot of people at their best, and they're still getting results. You know, and the more points we drop, the more, not even just City, because Liverpool is still there. You look at the points tally at the Premier League table at the moment, nobody's really pulled away. But the more points you drop, the more you need City to bottle. Again, you know, I don't know anything to hand, but, you know, obviously, if you're Arsenal, you want City to lose every game in the league, apart from the 2 against Spurs. I'm not like some Arsenal fans. You lot being shameless, twerking for Spurs against City, and you got your just deserves. But the more points you drop, the more points you need City to drop. How many points, unless a madness happens, which I don't think Pep in potentially his last season with the 115 charges, with everything they've done, there's zero complacency. How many losses have City got? You know, how many losses did they even get last season? Like, they lost to us, I would say, probably 3? How many losses did they have last year? Where's the league table? This is a bit annoying. This is annoying. Okay, league table, City. 3 losses. Yeah, 3 losses. We had 5. But this is, and you can, ironically, this is on brand because Liverpool, we got Liverpool on Sunday. They're in the title race. They know about getting 90 points and it's still not being enough. You know, we got 89 points last year. You know, I don't know if mathematically we can do that. If you don't believe we'll do that. But if you're not targeting 90 odd points and it still might not be enough, forget this league title. Forget it. City's almost an impossible job. Now, again, the way life pans out, you might not need 90 points. But that I can't guarantee, because I don't know no one, but I can almost guarantee Mikel Arteta and these players and Edu and all these guys, when they got back from their holidays and they were preparing for pre-season, on that little whiteboard at London Coley or whatever the training ground's called, they had to have said X amount of W's, X amount of L's, X amount of draws. We want to do this, we want to do that. And it has to have been 90 points in like a circle with the word 90, well, the number 90. It had to have been that. And if it's not that, then man, forget about winning leagues and all these things. 1 game at a time, this don't matter till April. How is life with Jesus and Sterling from a City fan? To be fair, Jesus and Sterling, He's here on loan. I don't expect much from Sterling, you know, in the sense of I want him to play better. He's a yard man. He's all of this, but you ain't kicked a ball for Chelsea. Not really been extended any minutes. You can make a case of Sterling being a good signing, but let's be honest. It was either that or nothing. He is here on loan. If he does great, maybe we sign him permanently. If he stinks up the place, F off. Gabriel Jesus, boy, big money, contracted until 2027. Nowhere near the lineup. Obviously, there is question marks over Jesus' goal scoring and the injuries and his confidence, and whether he can play up front. But Gabriel Jesus' stock has fallen, you know. Like it really has fallen. You've got Martinelli and Saka injured, yeah. Cool. Trossard just played in the 10, played whatever. Sterling is starting before you in the Prem. That tells you where you're at now. Maybe it's nothing to do with Jesus. Sterling might have some characteristics that Arteta went into the game and thought, let me do this, that, the other. Oh, no. Martinelli, thoughts on Martinelli's miss. He's really pushing my buttons, just hit the back of the net. I mean, it's another one where, you know, I look at the Atalanta one. I look at where he should have got assist against Spurs. I look at, obviously, Bournemouth. He should be bagging, but like, but we're not creating that much. Like Martinelli's getting in the right areas, and it seemed like his form was turning around. And yes, he should be bagging because we could have ended up losing that game. But 90 seconds from Martinelli's miss, Bournemouth went down the other end, and you know what happened. It maybe could have changed the trajectory. He needs to do better. Of course, my head was on Mars when he missed that because that was probably the only good thing. We forced the error from them, and they were quite fortunate, really, in that regard. So, yeah, man, it's another L. But why is it always Martinelli in that position? Why is it only 1-2 significant chances a game? Like, I love the defensive structure and whatnot, but it don't feel like it's sustainable getting these 1-2 opportunities and hoping for the best, if I'm honest, man. 100% facts, bro. These bigger streamers smashing Arteta don't understand it's a long season. Teams will drop points. Listen, everybody's allowed an opinion. Everyone's allowed an opinion. You can be as positive or as negative as you want. Everyone's allowed an opinion. What I advocate on my platform is if things are going good, we talk about that. Bad, talk about it. There could be reason to be optimistic, but about, you know, concerns and whatnot. But this is the thing, and I think there's no balance with football fans and specifically Arsenal. It's like, when we're getting away with it to a degree against Villa, against Southampton, against Leicester, little moments like that, it's all courageous. Nobody wants to talk about, yeah, we got out of jail, this, that, and the others. When we lose, people want to do think pieces, and then you're told you're negative, and it's all I told you so, where the truth is in the middle. We've got a good opportunity. There's reasons to be positive, but there's also reasons to think, oh, what's going on? Because I still think we're shooting ourselves in the foot unnecessarily. A bit of it because of what we did or didn't do in the transfer market, and a lot of it, evidently, what we're doing on the football pitch. And no two games are the same, but based on what I saw against Bournemouth, we didn't think, you know what? We robbed it against the villains at Aston Villa away. Leicester, it's all smiles and we can enjoy our day, but it could have went mad. Southampton, it could have went mad. These mishaps ultimately led to this. So yeah, man. Listen, I long accepted Marty's just a sub/squad player. He's peaked. He can't get any better than he is. He's just a try-hard guy, not an IQ guy. Yo, bro, last time I was muted. Why mods moving shook? I didn't mute you. Mods, stop muting people just for like having a different opinion or running bants. If people are disrespectful, which he wasn't, and racist and all that crap, then I hear it. But yeah, there's no need. Our first defeat in 6 months shows how desperate this team wants to stay in the race. And at least we can do is to keep cheering them up on the sideline to push them back on track. They're going to have to, I hear you, and they deserve the fan support. But at the end of the day, they've got to do it themselves. You know, there was a time now, again, whether we won, lost, or drawn, there was a time where there wasn't a single reason to be optimistic about Arsenal. You know, we've seen it when they, you know, everyone can see the project we're doing now and all of that jazz. But when we was poor and they were coming out and saying these things, issues. And one thing I've liked about this club, one thing I will give the players and everyone, I don't think, obviously they're human, they're going to see stuff, but I don't think they listen to the noise. I don't think they listen to all this positivity. I don't think when they were questioning the project and if Arteta's the right guy and the signings and bottling this and that, I don't think they listen, and they can't. It's their job. Ultimately, what you do on the football pitch dictates how you're spoken about. We see a lot of non-Arsenal supporters, you know, on YouTube. Arsenal are terrific. They're the best. They're this, they're that, they're the other. Now, they're being shameless and getting engagement and doing the click business. The game's the game. I can't begrudge them. But they're doing that because we're doing things. So, yeah, man. Rice Havertz in midfield was way more secure than these man, and Kai is not great as an 8. Kai Havertz, I just want you to get stuck in, run off the ball, bro. That's all I'm going to ask for you in the 8 role, man. Declan Rice defo listens, man, just wants to run to the cameras to talk all the time. It's a long season. Martinelli will be fine. Drop points versus Fulham and West Ham early last season, same again. And I can't expect us to win every game, but when you're fighting City, it's the dumb points, you know, again, and this is why I'm big on performance, because I'm not happy to lose to Bournemouth, big them up. But In another world, we play amazing. Bournemouth play better than us. Sometimes all you can say is, you know what, you were the better men on the pitch. Cool, you did your thing. Every time I watch Arsenal, if I feel we have done courageous, we've done everything, I can't ask anything more, then all right, we'll dissect what went wrong, what we could do better. The performance weren't there. The performance was not there. 10 men, 11 men, nothing. Collectively, individually, it weren't there. It weren't a Premier League performance to go and get 3 points. And it sounds cliche. Yes, you should be beating Bournemouth. Football, as we know, is not one on paper. It's cliche, but there's no easy games in the Prem. And I'm not being funny. Maybe for Mikel Arteta, again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Areola's one of the best tactical managers. I genuinely believe that in the Prem. I'm not saying he's the best, but he's a madman like that. Should we have done the playing around thing? Could you have played Trossard in the 10? I know your hand was tied via several factors, but this is all hindsight. And again, ultimately, unfortunately, we can't go back in time. We cannot alter the result, man. Do you do live watch-alongs? Yes, I do, my boy. I definitely do watch-alongs. We're going to be doing a watch-along for Arsenal versus Shakhtar. Wednesday, I think, is Bayern Munich Barca. We'll be doing that. Thursday, Jose Mourinho. I need you to get 3 points or beat Man United. So we'll be watching Fenerbahce against Man United. Obviously, next Sunday, we'll be watching Arsenal Liverpool. I think the games on the Saturday are dead. If I remember correctly, the games on this upcoming Saturday, they're rubbish, man. So I don't think I'll do that. But yeah, man. We lost to a bunch of cherries. I still can't believe it. We didn't take our lessons. You know, Chelsea beat them, but they didn't make it easy for Chelsea. And one thing I won't give the manager or the players, yeah, I don't think they sat there and underestimated Bournemouth. I think we just were crap. I don't think they sat there and thought we could just win the game. But it's got to be a lesson, man. It's got to be a lesson. Score prediction for Arsenal Liverpool. My brother, it depends who's available, man. But my heart tells me the best I can hope for is a draw. No, my brain says that. Pause. My heart's hoping for a 2-1 winning it. I'm going to try and talk positivity into the world. 2-1 Arsenal. I don't think we're keeping the clean sheet. I just hope to see Saka. I don't think I'll see Odegaard, at least not from the start. This was the one game, like when that news first come out, the one game I wanted Odegaard involved with. It's not to be the case. We're just going to have to get on with it, man. I'm going, Jim. I can predict the Shakhtar game for you. Play good for 20 minutes. Second half, low block, defend for no reason, protecting the lead at home. I'm not going to lie. As long as you beat Shakhtar, I don't care. Greatest of respect to Shakhtar. A bit on brand with Bournemouth. Bro, you've got Inter Milan coming up. Yes, draw away at Atalanta. Can't fault you. Would have loved to win, but live to fight another day. PSG, superb. One of the best performances so far this season. Or results, better yet. 4 points on the board. You need to deal with Shakhtar. Big up Monaco, but the Shakhtars, the Monacos, you need to be beating them. I want to confirm our route to the next round sooner rather than later. We know the Champions League, there's more games. We're going to be playing it in January. You know, if you don't come in the first 8 places, you've got a playoff. We're already seeing our squad tested, God forbid, but we don't know if there's any other injuries or suspensions. And in November, we do have another international break. The last 2 international breaks, there's been some nonsense with our players' health. Boy, make life easier for ourselves, man. We need to help ourselves, man. We need to help ourselves. So we'll have to see how things are going. But listen, people, just shy of an hour. I'm going to love and leave you lot. I need to get ready. I'm going to, do 1-2 things. I appreciate you lot's opinions, difference of opinions, engagement, all of that good stuff. Make sure you're liking, you're commenting, you're subscribing. I need to get the thumbnail done, but I've got Jordan on the platform. That will come out later today. 7 p.m. The video I did with Lee Judges will be out. Go and check out the stream I was part of on Saeed's channel. And yeah, man, make sure you're checking out your YouTube community tabs. You're following on Twitch. You're following both YouTube platforms. Everything's in the description. Most importantly, I hope you lot away from football are having a great day. And, I hope this week is great for you. It's almost the end of the year, man. Let's push towards our goals. On that note, peace. Always